Okay, so hi everyone. Welcome to MITT. My name is Delvinder, your student life coordinator working in student life. Part of the work I do is orientation, along with other events you'll hear of throughout the year. Today we have Grace, one of the student advisors that will be talking about time management. This topic has been asked by your alumni to be talked about because they find that this information at this time is the best because then it gets really busy. So I hope this presentation will be helpful and Grace will have you on track. Grace, thank you.
Excellent. Thanks, Del. So hi, everyone. I'm Grace. I'm one of the student advisors here at MITT, as Delvinder had indicated. I go by the pronoun she and her. I just wanted to start off by saying how nice it is to have you joining this time management session. And what I'll be doing is I'll be going through some time management tips. And afterwards, if you have any questions, I'd be really happy to book a follow-up meeting with you. We also have two other student advisors who would also be happy to provide support. So let's get started. Perhaps you are a student transitioning from high school to post-secondary studies, or you may be returning to post-secondary studies after a period of time, all of which can feel really challenging. And you might be feeling that there isn't enough time in the day to do everything you need to do, from school to work to personal responsibilities. When you begin your studies, you might feel that you have so many tasks, which can seem overwhelming at best. And, it can really start to feel like a juggling act. So as the Apple founder Steve Jobs said, it's pretty clear that time is the most precious resource we have. So what can you do about managing your time more effectively? So time is one of the biggest challenges that we see students face, and time management is essential for success in school, work, and life. And having good time management skills can be applied to everything you do. And it's really just trying to find that balance that might be challenging, but once you do, not only will this help you to focus on getting good grades, it will also help to reduce your stress. Now, the one thing that you will find when attending MITT is that our programs are not like university where you have spares in between your classes. So basically, you will be in class from 8:45 to 3:15, Monday to Friday, if you have a day class. If you have an evening class, it will be 3:30 to 9:30, Monday to Friday also. So right there, at least 6 hours each day is already committed to for your attendance in your classes. Because you have no spares throughout the day, well, when do you possibly find time to study or review your course material? Well, let's think about how we are with time. So I used to think I was great with managing my time. However, when I was in university, I found I would use up my spare time doing everything but studying and preparing for exams, which meant that I was up all night cramming the night before an exam. So what I want you to do is let's start by looking at your own perception of time. What I'd like to see you do is when I say go, close your eyes. When you think 1 minute is up, open your eyes. And no cheating by looking at a clock or your phone. Remember, this is an individual activity, so don't worry about what anyone else is doing. So remember, when I say go, you close your eyes. When you think 1 minute is up, open your eyes. Okay? So go. Okay, stop. So 1 minute is now up. So you might be thinking, well, what was the purpose of doing this? Well, it shows that we all perceive time differently. When I used to do this in person, I would be able to see how everyone opened up their eyes at different times. And what this shows is we each have our own understanding or perception of time. And sometimes we think we have more time or perhaps less time. Some of you may have thought that 1 minute was shorter than it actually was, or even longer than it actually was. So even though everyone has an equal amount of time, whether it's for 1 minute or 24 hours a day, we experience it and use it in different ways. Now, we all know that time flies. No one has more than 24 hours each day. And it really boils down to how you manage your time that makes the difference. So when it comes to your studies, you need to think about how much time you have available for studying and how much time you need to study. So how do you do this? You can start by building a study schedule using a weekly schedule such as this. And what you'll do is you will start by adding in your set class hours. And I like to call these fixed commitments because these are times that you cannot change, such as your class time or your lab times. So let's say typical class hours are 8:45 to 3:15. So right there, you have these hours already committed for within your 24-hour day. Next, you could add in your work hours. So if you are working at a part-time job, add in your part-time shifts for the week. Next, you would add in all of your personal commitments outside of school and work and include these in your schedule. In order to manage your time effectively, you need to factor in the other aspects of your life beyond school and work. And by this, I mean, think about the time you need to dedicate in terms of personal, such as family commitments, exercise, hobbies, even time needed for groceries, laundry, cleaning the house, as these two also use up your time. Balance is so important for your overall well-being. So all aspects of school, work, and life need to be factored into this schedule. Now, everything you do daily requires time. There are other aspects to factor in that you may not even think about, such as sleeping or eating or preparing meals. These all still take up time in a day. Now, what you can do after you input all this is look at what available time you have to schedule in for study time. Ideally, you want to try and schedule your study time when your energy level is the greatest, where you can be most productive, particularly if what you are studying is more difficult material. So once you've had an opportunity to work out your own weekly schedule, you will be able to see where your time is going. And by doing this, it will also give you an opportunity to think about anything you would like to change about the tasks that fill up your week and be realistic about how many activities you can actually schedule in. You may want to think about what you need to stop doing, what you can do less of, and what you can postpone until later. Now, this speaks to prioritizing your tasks, especially if you find you don't have enough hours in the day to focus on your studies. As an example, if you are working part-time hours, you may need to consider reducing those hours further. Now, everyone has a natural cycle. And by that, I mean, there are certain times of the day where you are more alert and times when you are more tired. So really try and think about scheduling your more challenging or your more tedious tasks when your energy level is the greatest. So once you have figured out where your time is going and how to organize your time effectively, The next step is to build a study plan that includes goals to hold yourself accountable. This will help you to keep track of key dates, assignment deadlines, tests, exams, as well as breaks in your program. Use your course outline to break down your assignments or projects into smaller, more manageable tasks. To help keep you on track with your study plan so that you aren't surprised or caught off guard by any upcoming deadlines, have a 4-week calendar and a 7-day detail calendar accessible and visible in your study space. Excuse me. You might prefer to have this on your phone. However, it really does make a difference to see this daily as a constant reminder. So just a suggestion, you might want to consider having this posted and visible by your computer on the wall right in front of you. You might be thinking, well, I would rather have this schedule on my phone. However, the challenge with this is that every time you go on your phone, it may end up turning into a 4-hour social media binge instead. It really does make it difficult to get anything completed if you are constantly checking your Facebook, your phone, for Instagram, or any other social media platform. Now, if you have difficulty saying no to any online distractions, there are apps that can help with this, and we in Student Services can certainly assist you in this regard. I always say prioritizing is key to good time management practices. Have you ever heard of the mayo jar lesson? Well, it goes like this. An instructor had an empty jar on her desk. She filled it to the top with large rocks and asked her class if the jar was full. Well, everyone in the class said yes. Yet the instructor proceeded to still fill the jar with small pebbles and then with some sand. So what is my point with this story? Well, basically, depending on what objects you put in the jar first, determines how much of the other objects you can put in afterwards. If I were to fill the jar with sand first, nothing else would fit. However, if I start with the large rocks first, then I can fit in the other objects. So really think about the large rocks as your most important task. If you spend all of your time and energy on the smaller objects or tasks, you will never have room for the more important tasks. Now, this mayo jar lesson demonstrates the importance of breaking down your tasks into priorities. What needs to get done today? What can wait until tomorrow? What can wait until next week? These are the kinds of questions that you need to ask yourself. So what I would suggest you do is maybe spend the first 15 minutes of each day getting your tasks prioritized so that you know exactly what you have on your plate for the day ahead. When you manage your time well and schedule blocks of time for your schoolwork, this will help you to not only prioritize your studies and meet deadlines, but will also enable you to participate and still be active in other parts of your life, again, while reducing stress for yourself. Another way to really help manage your time is the Pomodoro technique. The Pomodoro technique is a great time management practice that can really help you to keep maximum focus because of the short time periods, which allows you to complete things faster with less mental fatigue. The process is fairly simple. You basically dedicate 25 highly focused minutes to study, and then you take a break for 5 minutes. Each 25-minute study period is called a Pomodoro. So basically, after 4 Pomodoros have passed, you will have studied for 100 minutes with a break of only 15 minutes. So again, keeping your study time to those shorter blocks of time. If you aren't clear about how the Pomodoro technique works, perhaps this slide explains it better visually. From my own personal experience, I just wanted to share when I was a student, I always thought I had good time management. And you know why? because I would study for hours and hours on end without ever taking breaks. And I would think the longer I studied each day, the more I was retaining information, when in fact, all I really did was tire myself out. I would go to class the next day where I was clearly not able to focus. And on top of that, I did not remember anything of what I had studied the day before. So in the end, I wasted more time and I had little to show for it. This is why the Pomodoro technique is much more effective. Shorter blocks of time where you can really focus on the task at hand is a more efficient means of not only managing your time well, but also what you end up gaining in terms of your study time. So this brings me to the end of this time management session. If you would like more information on anything discussed in this session, we as in Student Services would be really happy to set up individual meetings. I would really encourage you to do that. We are here to help, as I said before, and we would be so happy to work with you further. So again, if you would like more information on time management strategies, feel free to email studentservices@mitt.ca and request a meeting with a student advisor. If you have specific questions, I would also be happy to stay behind and answer those. But again, I really strongly encourage you to connect with Student Services, ask to meet with a student advisor, and we would be happy to meet individually with each of you to go over more specific time management strategies. So thanks again, everyone. I'm really happy that you were able to join this session and appreciate your time with us today. Thank you.